Hello everyone and welcome back to UE5 BP Guru. Today we're going to be looking at adding in prone mechanics. So the first issue I had is I did use Mixamo to get these animations. So the thing with that is they don't have a prone without a weapon in your hand. So it's going to look a bit funny, this prone animation, but we're going to have to make it work that way, unfortunately, for now, until I can get around to making one without the kind of rifle-looking mechanics. So, I've dragged them in. So again, they should have the correct animations. They should already be hooked up. It looks like they are, so that's all good. Now what we need to do is create a new blend space. So we're going to go over to the blueprints folder where we have all of our other ones set up, and we're going to right click and we're going to go to animation and we're going to create a new blend space. We're going to create it for test subject Michael as always, and then we'll call it TSM prone underscore blend space and click enter. We're going to open up the prone blend space and we're going to do what we did in the last episode. We're going to call this direction. We're going to call the one down here speed, and we're going to go 0, and the fastest I want to go is about 150 with this one. So with the direction, if you remember, we go minus 180 to 180. That's for if you want like left and right movement, which we probably will add in down the line, but for now we're just trying to get the basics set down and ready to go. But we can improve on them when we need to. So we've got our rifle idle. There we go. Well, it's technically our prone idle for now. And we've got a prone forward, which if we bring it all the way up and set that to 0, we have our forward and backwards. If I do this, it'll start moving forward. And if we go back, we'll go back. Now, if you're just doing a run and gun where you always have a gun in your hand, this is fine because you'll have a gun in your hand anyway. But obviously if you're going for that sort of survival setup, or like DayZ, or if you're going for sort of like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the game, Dead Rising, or anything like that where you can drop your weapon is what I'm trying to get at, and have just your bare hands, then this isn't going to be the best animation. But obviously if you can get your own animations, then you should be fine. And with that done, we can click save. So now we just need to go into our anim BP, and we need to create a new boolean called is prone, and we're going to go and set that there. And you probably already guessed it, we need to go and do the same thing in our third person character because we're going to be using it later. New variable is prone. Compile that so that we can get it in here. Pull this down. Is prone. No, not set. I clicked the wrong one. We need a get is prone. There it is. And plug that into the prone. Now if we do this, and we could probably just plug that one in, to be honest. There we go. Save it looking completely messy, but we'll fix this all up down the line. I just hate it looking messy. Head into our crouching state and we can go back into the locomotion here. Now the thing with prone is you can go from crouching to prone to crouching to idle, etc. So we kind of need to make a bit of a triangle here. Now, again, this will need all reshuffling when we add weapons into the game, because weapons will have their own animations. So we want to create a new state, and we'll call this prone. And we can plug that back and up into the idle and back out of the idle again. We'll create a lovely little triangle like that. Now, very much like we did the crouching is not crouching, we need to do the same thing for prone. So to do that, we're just going to do what we did with the crouching. So is prone true? Yes. Now, because we have is crouching true, we may need to add as an and crouching not true. But for now, we're just going to try it with the prone and just see how we get on. I think we only need to add the and in when we've got weapons and things like that. Not Boolean and can into that transition. And then from here, we want to say, again, prone is true. And in this one, prone not true. Like so. Okay. I just want to make sure I did that right. Is not prone, is prone, that's fine. Crouching is crouching. Yeah, that should be fine. No, we need to do we just need to add is crouching true. So the reason for that is because if we're prone and we are not prone anymore, we kind of need to know where to go. So if crouching is true, so for this one, yeah, I do need an and. I'm just thinking it through in my brain, and we do need an and. Is prone true and crouching not true? We'll copy that. So is prone, we want the and. Is prone true and crouching not true? Then we'll go into this because we're going to flip-flop that, right? And then in this one, we want to say is crouching true and is prone not. Now, that should be correct. We might have to test this. Is prone true and not crouching? Is crouching true and not is prone? Yep, that should be okay. We'll test it out. I think when you're heading to another animation that's not idle, you kind of need an and kind of so it knows the certain sort of parameters that you need for it to work, right? So now that we've set that up, again, we might need to tweak this, but we'll come back to that if we need to. We are now just looking at crouching. So for this, we need to keep the is sprinting, but we need to add in an extra check because this is not going to be just crouching. This is also going to affect our prone. So let's unhook these two for now. And we don't want on the completed to be checked. We just want it to be on pressed because I actually want it to hold down the crouch. If we let go of the button at the moment and click on that, it will automatically stand us up. But because we're having prone connected into all of this, we don't want this. So we can delete that for now. I can keep it there actually, because I will be using that in a moment. But let's move all of this down here for now. Okay, we need to create a new variable that is going to be a type integer. And it's going to be, now it's going to be called C, where's the name thing? We're going to call it C press amount. We don't need to change anything for the defaults. It can be 0. The reason for this is it is a crouch press amount, the amount of times we're going to press the crouch. And the reason for this is we need to determine how many times we've pressed it. So if we press it once, we only crouch. If we press it twice, we prone, etc. And with this, we are going to do an increment. So every time we press it, it increments. And then we are going to also clamp this to the maximum of 2. So if we hammer C button, it will only register 2 presses. And then we want to delay by 0.2 seconds. So you have to press it quite quickly for it to register as a double press. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set this amount. Okay? And then we're going to do a sequence. Because we need 2 things to happen after this. One is we need to register whether we're crouching or proning or coming out of that, for example. And the other thing we need to do is set our C press amount back to nothing. So we're going to have another delay coming off the bottom here, which is off the second one. We'll make it 0.5. And then we're going to set our C press amount back to 0. So that the next time we run a press, it starts from 0. So it determines whether we're pressing a 1 or 2. You can play around with these figures and get the best option for you, but that's what I found worked for me. We then need to call a branch, so hold down B and click. And what we're checking is the C press amount. So we're just checking to see if this is equal to 2, because it'll never be 0. It'll only ever be 1 or 2. So it's either going to be 1 or it's going to be 2. So if it's 2, we're going into prone, and if it's false, we're going off into crouching. So the next thing we want to do is we'll go off the true first, because we're adding the prone in. So we'll check, is proning true? And if it is, we want to go out of prone, and if it isn't, we want to go into prone. Now, I usually just add the booleans in here, but for the sake of this, I'm going to create it so it's a bit tidier. We're going to do a crouch switch. This is going to be a function that just sets, we're going to get our is prone and our is crouching. You can add all your movements into this, but it'll be quite long, and we only need it really for this section at this point. I might probably make a weapon one down the line, but we just need to be able to set these two via this function. And what this will do is it'll just save a lot of nodes and ridiculously long code. So we can call this out now on the true and on the false. And by doing this, we can then determine what we want to have happen. So if we are proned and we've double tapped, we're not going into crouch, we're going into standing. So we can set both these as false. If we aren't prone, we're going into prone. And because, although we have the crouch speed, we need to get the max walk speed. And I'm going to be changing ours up now using the crouch function that's built into the character movement is obviously going to always be a better solution. But because we're adding prone in and we're setting the max walk speed anyway, we're just going to do it this way. This is the old way I did it. But you do whichever one you feel works best for you. If you're doing multiplayer, I will always advise you use the crouch function. But again, that's up to you how you do it. So we're going to 300 if we're going into walk. I set the max movement speed to 150, I believe, for prone. What did we set? The crouch speed at 200. Okay, so we can actually copy and paste this and put it down here as well. We don't need the character movement because we can just plug this one in for now. If we bring it into where that was, it just keeps it a little bit neater. And again, we're just doing the exact same thing. That is, oh, I didn't mean to come off of that. We need to go off of that. There we go. Yeah, don't do that. Make sure you go off of the 0 instead of the C press 0. So now we want to change is prone to is crouching, so that it goes into the crouching instead. And we also need to plug the is crouching into the branch check. Again, off of this true, we want the max walk speed to be 300. If we are going off of the false, we need to set this now to 200. And that, in theory, should give us a relatively good crouch and prone system. Now we're going to comment this off, and we'll say crouching / prone, and then we're going to give it a test. Now, let's compile, and this could be an issue, but we'll check all the animations out as we go. So we're in the game, we press, so the crouch is not working. Why is that not working? Let's try it again. Interesting. An event that could have triggered evaluation, triggering may also occur this frame. So what have we not done? Oh, that could also be the issue, because we're not sprinting, it's not letting us do it. Let's try it from the false this time. Okay, there we go, we're crouched. Now it's not letting us go into the animation pose. So yeah, so there's something wrong with the animations. Oh, because I didn't actually plug in the animation. That would help, wouldn't it? Prone, go into there, and then we plug our direction in and our speed. There we go. And we compile. There we go. Now let's give it a go. There we go. We're in prone. Now the camera's a little bit buggy like this, because actually it's not too bad. Yeah, it is a little bit buggy. Okay, we might need to move the camera a little bit. But as you can see, we are proning. If we press the C button once, we go into crouch, and we stay in crouch, and we can't sprint or do any of that, so that's good. If we go into prone, we can sprint in prone mode. So we need to add an OR value into our sprint system. So that's good. Okay, well, that's good that we found that. So to amend that sprint so it doesn't do it on the prone as well, what we can do is we can add an OR boolean. So it says if it's doing this or this, don't do it. Okay, so that should fix our prone issue. And as far as I can tell, it's all working pretty nicely. Let's give it one more test. And let's go into prone. There we go. And let's try and sprint. We can't sprint now, so that's good. Okay, so an interesting thing's happening there. If it's true, so what's happening here? So I've just realized something. What's happening here is when we press the button, this happens. It does this check and it says, okay, we're prone, so false, we can't do this. But when we let go of the button, it comes off of the completed. So what we need to do is do a branch check here as well. And say, and it goes into the true. Is sprinting true? If sprinting's not true, which it shouldn't be, from if we get blocked here, it won't do this. But if we are, it will set our walk speed back to normal. So, yeah, if we now go into prone and we're moving very slowly, if I hold the sprint button down and let go, it's now not changing my speed. And if I go into C, I'm walking around. If I get up, I can sprint again. Good. So that's now working as intended. So we now have a prone system in place. So hopefully you found this episode very useful. If you have, hit that subscribe button. It's free to do. You can also change your mind down the line. And also don't forget to leave a little like. And I will see you in the next episode. Much love. Take care. See you next time. Bye.